Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. This is the news and reaction segment. And if you are not new, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the new dump of the Epstein files. But I'm going to share a video from the Lincoln Project with Rick Wilson talking about power and how disturbing all of this has become. 6 months ago, probably going on 7 months ago, and I will link that video in the description. I did a video called Follow the Trail of the Breadcrumbs from Donald Trump to Epstein and everybody else in between. There are so many names who are surfacing, who are being protected. I'm even afraid to put this video together, to be honest with you. I realize in listening to this podcast and everything that has been happening that we live amongst sick people. I never believed that people who are pedophiles are redeemable people. There was an episode on Forensic Files. I forget which one it was. I'm sure at some point I'm going to come across it, where there was a man who did prison time for doing things to a child, got out, kidnapped a little girl, and he unalived her. You see, that person was not a redeemable person. He was doing something disgusting with children. And when he got found out and went to jail, and then they let him out, he still was going to do it, but this time he was not going to try and leave talking evidence. So I don't know what to think anymore. It's frightening because you don't know who is walking amongst you. And for anyone to still advocate for this administration, I still believe that people need to get their head checked. When there is somebody like on Parker's live that he did on TikTok, where there was a man saying, "What is wrong with doing that to little girls? You have got to be a sick fuck."
Let's say you're right. I'll grant that you're right, and he's on the list and all the things, and you're right about all the accusations you've been making. Why is it wrong that he did those things?
Are you asking me why it's wrong to rape children?
Yeah, I need you to tell me why it is wrong in your eyes
To rape
to do
children.
that. Yes. Do you need me to repeat it? Can you not hear me? Do you have too many cocks in your ears, or what's up? Why is it wrong? Is that too hard of a question?
To think that these people are not redeemable.
The elephant in the room this week is power, because what you're seeing in the release of this third tranche of the Epstein files in the last 7 days now, by the time you're listening to this.
The DOJ's latest batch of Epstein files revealing new connections between the late convicted sex offender and other powerful men, with another data set posted overnight. One of the documents appears to be a 32-count draft indictment prepared against Epstein before the non-prosecution agreement he reached in 2007. It reveals the government was looking to charge 3 co-conspirators alongside Epstein, with a conspiracy to procure women under the age of 18 between 2001 and 2005. Their names are redacted, but they are described as assistants who helped schedule appointments, make calls, pay victims, and more. Some new images also appear to show Britain's former Prince Andrew kneeling over an unidentified female. There are no details provided about the circumstances or timing of the photos, and there's no indication of wrongdoing in these images. He has denied prior accusations of sexual abuse by one of Epstein's victims and has never been criminally charged. The DOJ also posted, then temporarily removed without explanation, a spreadsheet of complaints made to the FBI, including unverified allegations about both President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. Per the document, the FBI determined some of those claims were found to be not credible. Trump and Clinton have denied any wrongdoing, and they have not been accused by authorities. The DOJ says the files contain untrue and sensationalist claims against President Trump that are unfounded and false.
We did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody.
A group of Epstein survivors criticized the DOJ for heavily redacting some of the files, saying in a statement, "This is not over. We will not stop until the truth is fully revealed and every perpetrator is finally held accountable." Jose, some of the Epstein documents are heavily redacted. President Trump's Justice Department said the White House had no oversight of the review of these new files. At least 2 congressmen have already requested to see unredacted documents. And remember, the Deputy Attorney General said they're not releasing millions of pages of additional files, including some involving internal deliberations about the case.
This Department of Justice has displayed a unbelievable, overt, public, clear attempt to edit out history. Congress said to them, "Thou shalt release," and they did not. They're still holding back 3 million files. And more importantly than that, they're redacting the names of many of the people who are saying things to Jeffrey Epstein in these email communications that are horrors that a civilized society should not have anyone in it.
I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. When all of this started to come out, the first thing that went through my head a couple of weeks ago, and I commented on other people's posts, watch the movie 8mm with Nicolas Cage and Joaquin Phoenix.
Come highly recommended, Mr. Wells. You're praised for your discretion.
Thank you, ma'am.
As you know, my husband passed away recently.
Yes.
My husband was the only one with the combination to this safe. These were my husband's private things. I didn't realize.
Do you want to tell me what you found, Mrs. Christian?
Private Detective Tom Wells is one of the only people who has seen it. It is 8mm wide. It runs at 16 frames per second. And he has been hired to discover.
All I want is to know that this atrocity is false. I want the proof of it.
If what's on it is real.
I couldn't watch the beginning. I remember I was with my ex. I closed my eyes for that part. I was like, tell me when it's over. Even if it was a movie, just the idea that a movie like that happens in real life is disturbing. For people to turn around and say, well, I didn't know he was doing that, or being at parties. And you know what? I've seen other names in there, things that have popped up, and their people are very accusatory because they want to still do the Democrat versus the Republicans. They're not realizing that it's normal, sane people versus you're sick in the head. Has nothing to do with Democrats versus Republicans. It has to do with there's a group of decent people here, and the other group is a bunch of fucking sick pedophiles and the ones who are protecting them. And if you're still sitting there protecting pedophiles, get your head checked. There's something wrong with you. There is something wrong with a person when you sit there and you say, this is okay. Let's use Harvey Weinstein as an example. Very big in the entertainment industry and was accused of raping women. There was one video that a woman had recorded. She had a camera in her bag. Just thinking about it, they did not play the whole video, but to hear her beg that she didn't want to. And then people hanging around this man. How could you not know? How could you not know that Harvey Weinstein was doing things to women against their will? Now, granted, maybe Epstein kept that part of his life very quiet. But you have somebody like Howard Lucknett that was saying, oh, well, as soon as I got like a weird vibe, I said, forget it. I'm getting away from this. But wasn't he allegedly describing people that he had in his party? Like, I forget the exact word, so I'm not even going to say, but why would you describe, I have two young girls and two young boys? Again, it could be anything. It could be that a person is setting up a dinner and they want to know exactly how many children are going to be there, how many adults are going to be there. I mean, those are credible questions. Maybe you want to have like a children's table to put the children there, or maybe you want to set up the tables where everybody is sitting with their family. But we're not talking about normal circumstances of a party. We are talking about a person who was accused of sex trafficking, where Ghislaine Maxwell is still in a prison, now in a far less secured prison. Who knows what she did to get that? And you think about the enormity, how deep this rabbit hole goes with what is happening now, and how people will still defend the sickness, and the people who don't want to come out and admit what they were doing. Brett Ratner saying, oh, but that was my fiance. How convenient, being that he was called out of the Me Too movement and he was part of what, the director or producer for the Melania film. How convenient. They all hang out together. No surprise. Birds of a feather flock together.
Who's engaged in these things. Now, unfortunately, all human societies are comprised of humans, and humans do horrible things. Not all of them, but there's always a fraction of people in every culture and every society who are doing horrible things. And Jeffrey Epstein was a person in our culture and our society who did horrible things to young women. Rape, trafficking, pedophilia, and he had friends. Lots and lots and lots of wealthy friends. And we're seeing in this release something that I think is really important. It's one thing to think to yourself, oh, this is all about the sex. This is all about the abuse. This is all about the women and girls who were in this horrifying situation. And in many ways it is. But it is also about power and contempt. As a conservative, one of the things that has bothered me the most in the last decade is the slow devolution away from the rule of law, away from those rules that conservatives once said were central to how they wanted to govern their lives, to how they wanted to manage their moral compass, to how they wanted everyone else to do it too. Play by the rules, follow the law, equal justice. But what you've seen about the power that these men have in our society, a handful of women in there too, but we'll leave that, is that even now, with Epstein dead, the bulk of knowledge that is in these files, even when it's caged and coded elliptically, his power did not come from being a money manager or an advisor. His power came from being a facilitator. His power came from being a man who was willing to arrange for his older male friends, clients, associates, people he wanted to target for influence, sex with young women, some underage. And we're still protecting them as a country.
And that is the frightening part. Why do we protect people like that? Are we going to feel bad for them if they lose everything? You go back to my video. In my video, I was talking about the whole Spirit on the Hudson, I believe the boat is called. It's like a 3-hour boat ride that circles around New York City. You get on that boat. I've been on that boat ride multiple times. You get on that boat, once it leaves the dock, you're stuck there for 3 fucking hours, and you have to wait until it circles the whole island of Manhattan, or wherever it is that it goes, to know that these models were stuck. And I'm going to play a little bit of this video. This video actually got a copyright claim because the footage from the Look of the Year, I guess, is a copyrighted video. I'm going to be very selective in what I share in my video.
I had prepared thoroughly for a long meeting with Donald Trump to explain to him why this was going to be a very big success. In fact, I hadn't finished my third sentence. He said, I love the idea, let's do it.
I recall John inviting very powerful businessmen to be a part of the judging panels. He just thought it was good business to bring in very wealthy men around very young, beautiful women.
Donald Trump.
Now, I want to go back to that part here. How this girl that had the blurred face looked like she couldn't get away from him fast enough.
He just thought it was good business to bring in very wealthy men around very young, beautiful women.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump was a judge. I don't understand why he was there in terms of context of a fashion show. How could he judge it?
And just the mere fact when you think about it, because this is what I was putting together in this video, how all of these breadcrumbs led to Epstein. Because everybody thinks, oh, he was doing an investigation. Donald Trump was doing an investigation. He wasn't fucking doing an investigation. He was already in bed with a lot of these model talent scout people: John Casablancas, Gerard Marie, Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel was the talent agent for Karen Models. And look at the things that he was doing. Who knows if that's even true? But I've got one better for you. Jeffrey Epstein was unalived in his prison through his own hands, allegedly, in 2019. Let's go back to a man named Jean-Luc Brunel.
Karen's had an excellent reputation. You really wanted to work there if you could get in the door. And it was run by Jean-Luc Brunel.
I want to ask you something. That little girl, Carol.
Yes?
I really like her.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you think I could represent her in Paris?
I'll have to talk to her mother.
You see, I believe these men found a way to gain access to young girls through modeling, through promising a dream, through pageantry, doing pageants. How many times have we heard the Howard Stern interview be played when Donald Trump was talking about how he just waltzed into a room while these girls were naked and how he had to inspect the property? They always seem to forget to play the part where I think he makes a comment about they must think I'm a predator, and Robin says, well, you are one.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. Right. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
And Robin would know because of her own experiences with her father, which she published in her book. Robin would recognize a predator. Now, granted that Howard Stern isn't talking about politics anymore on his show, but you can't take away what happened in the past, things that Donald Trump has said on that show, and people will still make excuses. He's joking. He's being sarcastic. What do you say about all of the other people who are around him involved in this behavior, doing things with young girls, and everybody just seems to be okay with it? If it was your child, and I'm talking to a MAGA person, if you have a 10-year-old little girl, would you be okay with her being present with an adult that's not you, that has this problem of not being able to keep his hands to himself?
What do you think? Why do you think it is? It is because Donald Trump has told Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the rest of the people around this entire horrifying cover-up, redact their names. Take my friends out of this. Trump's name appears thousands of times, by the way. Thousands of times in these new files. And we learned from a whistleblower earlier this week that 1,000 FBI personnel, as we previously reported here on the show and on the Against All Enemies podcast as well, Against All Enemies substack, as well, $1 million worth of overtime. But these names that are being taken out of this document are clearly not the names of victims, because they put the victims' names all over the goddamn thing. The victims have been absolutely, my heart goes out to the victims and their families, because the way they've been treated in this entire affair has been shoddy and horrible and cruel from the very beginning.
It's sad that we live in a world where the victim's voice, man or woman, it doesn't matter. If you've been violated against your will, you are a victim to this unfortunate circumstance. It's terrible. It's terrible when you want to say something and you're afraid that you are not going to be believed, that you are going to be looked upon as, were you wearing something that was inappropriate that garnered this behavior? Did you say something? Did you give the impression that you were going to do something, but then you changed your mind and you were being a tease? Hence the reason why they did that to you. There is never an excuse for anyone to violate you. And it's terrible that we live in this world with this. I'm going to get into it more. I've already been talking now for quite some time and I have to edit this. I just don't know what to say anymore, other than all of this is very disturbing. It's even more disturbing to hear his supporters act like there's nothing wrong. Everything is just completely normal. And we are just making this bigger than what it is. And with all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other. Most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.